Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and no one is at work. Not the pilots, not the baristas, not the delivery drivers, not the surgeons, the firefighters, or the power plant operators. Not a single person. Every office, empty. Every train, stalled. Every phone call to customer service, ringing into the void. It's not a strike. It's not a holiday. It's not even a rebellion. It's something far more terrifying. The entire human workforce, billions of people, have simply stopped. No warnings. No explanations. And now, everything begins to unravel. This isn't a dystopian movie. This is a thought experiment gone rogue. A brutal glimpse into what would happen if every human being on Earth decided, all at once, I'm done. No more work, no more jobs, no more civilization as we know it. The result? A global chain reaction of destruction. Power grids collapse. Hospitals shut their doors. Planes crash. Cities rot. And humanity is thrown headfirst into a savage battle for survival, stripped of all the modern comforts we take for granted. But this isn't just about the collapse. It's about what rises from the ashes. How long does the world survive without workers? What happens to culture, identity, morality when everything we've built vanishes? And who, if anyone, will carry humanity into the next age? Let's find out. Because in the first 24 hours, it's not the silence that's loudest. It's the chaos that rushes in to take its place. The first few hours are confusing. The internet still works, at first, phones still buzz, satellites still orbit. But as people reach out, they're met with silence. No one picks up. No one responds. Email inboxes fill, and then overflow. Social media becomes a void of unanswered questions and rising panic. Airports grind to a halt. Flights remain on the tarmac. Baggage carousels stop spinning. Thousands of passengers are stranded in terminals without staff. No one at the desks, no announcements, no fuel trucks. In the sky, planes begin running low on fuel. With no air traffic control and no landing instructions, some pilots try to return to origin. Others simply disappear. On highways, traffic jams turn into frozen graveyards. Gas stations are closed, attendants gone. Emergency calls go unanswered. Engines overheat. Tempers flare. And still, no police. Hospitals are eerily quiet. Some patients wake up alone. IV still running. Heart monitors beeping into empty halls. Surgeries mid-operation are left incomplete. Babies born into silence. The critically ill die not from their conditions, but from abandonment. The most advanced healthcare systems on Earth, now ghost shells of blinking machines and deserted corridors. In homes, people wait. They assume it's a glitch, or maybe a global strike, or some cyber attack. It'll pass, they say. The government will explain. But the government, too, is missing. No press conferences, no emergency addresses. No military on the streets because they're not working either. And then, the power goes out. It starts regionally, then rolls like thunder across the globe. Without people at power plants, without engineers managing the load, the system crashes. Entire cities go dark. Elevators stall mid-floors. Subways stop in tunnels. People trapped everywhere. The digital age is unplugged. Food supply chains collapse instantly. Farmers aren't harvesting. Drivers aren't delivering. Supermarkets remain locked. The few stores that are open are quickly ransacked. Shelves are stripped of essentials in minutes. Water, canned food, batteries, diapers. And when no one comes to restock them, desperation takes hold. Refrigerators lose power. Meat spoils. Medication requiring cold storage becomes useless. Parents scramble to find food for their children. People begin hoarding. The strong push the weak aside. Across the globe, fires break out, kitchen accidents, gas leaks, electrical surges. But there are no firefighters to put them out. Flames spread unchecked, swallowing neighborhoods, cities. The sky turns red over the horizon. Smoke chokes the air. Water systems begin to fail. Sewage backs up. Toilets stop flushing. Taps run dry. Without maintenance crews, even the most basic utilities become hazards. Disease begins to brew in the shadows of collapsing civilization. And still, no one works. No teachers for the frightened children. No pilots for the grounded planes. No engineers for the melting reactors. No police for the looters. No paramedics for the injured. In just one day, humanity has gone from a finely tuned global machine to a crumbling tower of panic and powerlessness. The illusion of stability evaporates. We realize, too late, that our modern world is not self-sustaining. It runs on people, not machines, not automation, not AI. People, billions of them, each doing a job that someone else depends on. Remove them, and everything collapses. And if this is what happens in just one day, what horrors await us by the end of the week? 7 days. That's all it takes for the modern world to die. By the end of the first week, the shock has worn off, and what's left is something far more dangerous: reality. A raw, unfiltered new normal where survival is no longer a theoretical concern. It's immediate, it's brutal, it's primal. Major cities have become war zones, not from organized violence, but from sheer neglect. Garbage has piled up in the streets, attracting rats, roaches, and disease. Human waste is dumped wherever people can find a corner. The smell is overwhelming. Infection is rampant. Hospitals already abandoned are now filled with the dead and the dying. No one is coming to clean up. No one is coming at all. Without clean water, people turn to desperate sources: rain puddles, rivers, even toilet tanks. And they drink. Cholera, dysentery, and parasites spread rapidly. No medication, no doctors, no hope. Food riots erupt. Grocery stores have been picked clean. Homes are ransacked. Neighbors turn on each other. Guns come out. So do knives. People kill for bread. Entire apartment buildings form barricades, guarding their dwindling supplies like gold. In rural areas, it's no better. Farmlands sit untouched because no one remembers how to harvest. The crops rot where they stand. Meanwhile, fires rage out of control. Power lines collapse. Wildfires spread from neglected forest regions to the outskirts of civilization. In urban areas, a single kitchen blaze becomes a 6-block inferno within hours. There are no alarms, no hoses, no emergency exits. Just smoke, screams, and silence. In the absence of order, crime doesn't rise. It evolves. Looting turns into raiding. Opportunism becomes organized. Gangs form, militia rise. They're not fighting for profit anymore. They're fighting for survival. Territories emerge. Some guard resources, others conquer. And in this new age, law is no longer written. It's enforced by whoever has the most power. The digital world, once the nerve center of civilization, is now a graveyard. With no one maintaining the servers, the internet goes dark. No more online banking. No more GPS. No more news. Your phone becomes a flashlight. Your computer, a paperweight. Communication collapses. Isolation takes its place. And then comes the psychological unraveling. Without jobs, people lose their structure. Without structure, they lose their purpose. Some break down emotionally. Others mentally. Depression surges. Suicides increase. People who once worked to live now struggle to find a reason to live without work. Even those who once dreamed of a life without labor are haunted by its absence. Because work wasn't just a paycheck. It was identity. It was routine. It was civilization's glue. Now, that glue has dissolved. Even the wealthy, once protected by wealth and walls, find their safety nets shredded. No chefs, no security. No private jets, no deliveries. Their bank accounts may still have 7 figures, but there's nothing left to buy and no one left to sell it. The middle class is caught in between, too resourced to panic early, too unprepared to adapt, and the poor. They were always one missed paycheck away from crisis. Now that crisis is permanent. Humanity is no longer divided by class. It's divided by instinct, those who adapt and those who don't. And adaptation in this new reality is not about education, credentials, or IQ. It's about grit, physical endurance, survival knowledge, emotional control. The people who once filled spreadsheets or led board meetings, they're now begging for canned food. The overlooked janitors, mechanics, farmers, and hunters. They become the kings of the new world. With cities in chaos, millions begin to flee. Urban exodus floods into the countryside, but the countryside can't support them. Forests are stripped of resources. Wells are poisoned. Roads become impassable without maintenance, and everywhere people go, they carry fear with them. Small communities wall themselves off. Outsiders are treated as threats. Mistrust becomes universal. Human connection, once the most powerful asset of civilization, is now a liability. Even attempts to form cooperative groups collapse quickly. Without shared purpose, without leadership, without trust, most groups dissolve into infighting. Others are taken over by force. The world, once globalized and interconnected, now splinters into a mosaic of isolated chaos. No mail, no markets, no money, no rules. What began as a hypothetical is now a living nightmare. And it's only been a week. But as the cities fall and humanity fractures, one truth becomes painfully clear. If we want to survive the long haul, we'll have to return to the ways of our ancestors. By week 2, the world looks nothing like the one we once knew. Skyscrapers still stand, but they're hollow and dark. Lifeless monuments to a time when electricity flowed and humans functioned as one giant machine. Now, the machine is dead. And in its place, something ancient and unforgiving begins to awaken. Modern survival skills are irrelevant. No one cares how fast you can code, how well you manage emails, or what you studied in college. What matters now is whether you can build a fire, grow food, purify water, or defend your shelter. Those who can't, they either adapt or they disappear. Most people begin to leave the cities. They trek out in desperate search of land, clean water, and somewhere safe to start over. But what they find is worse than they imagined. Forests are overrun with others doing the same. Lakes are polluted, wildlife is skittish, and edible plants. Without proper knowledge, most end up consuming toxic herbs or fungi, leading to illness or death. Entire families vanish trying to live off the land. YouTube survivalists, once seen as niche hobbyists, suddenly become the prophets of the new era, if their tips were downloaded, printed, or remembered at all. But most of the digital world's knowledge is gone. Without electricity or working devices, the sum of human achievement, our science, history, and medicine, has gone dark. Libraries become gold mines, not for fiction, not for fantasy, but for old manuals, guides, blueprints, anything that predates the cloud. Skills we once outsourced, carpentry, hunting, fishing, foraging, preserving food, sewing clothes, are now the difference between life and death. People begin to teach themselves using scraps of paper, old notebooks, or memories passed down from grandparents. It's slow, painful, and for many, too late. Weapons, once regulated, are now everywhere. Makeshift spears, reforged blades. Guns without ammo become clubs. The concept of safety is no longer external. There are no police to call, no government to report to. Safety comes from numbers, from loyalty, from mutual survival pacts. Tribes begin to form, not based on culture or country, but on usefulness. Some communities rise around freshwater sources, others around fertile land. Some dig into abandoned farms and rebuild greenhouses using old plastic and shattered glass. Small groups even attempt to repurpose old windmills and solar panels. Most fail. A few succeed. But only with relentless trial and error. Currency is gone. The new economy is skill-based and direct. A loaf of bread might cost a full day of labor. A handful of seeds could be worth more than gold. Antibiotics, priceless. Soap, a luxury. Salt, a miracle. And knowledge. Actual hands-on ancient knowledge is now a power greater than any political title or military rank. Children born into this world won't go to school. There are no schools. Instead, they learn to survive, to observe, to contribute. The old childhood of playdates, cartoons, and smartphones is gone, replaced by chores, watch duty, and learning to identify edible roots. Some people try to cling to remnants of the old world, wearing suits, maintaining rituals, or reciting corporate mantras like prayers to forgotten gods. But it doesn't last. Time erodes old habits. Reality rewrites beliefs. Even religion morphs. With no churches open, no online sermons, and no guidance, people begin to blend faith with survival. Some believe the collapse was divine punishment. Others say it's the earth reclaiming balance. New cults form. Old ones fracture. Spirituality becomes deeply personal, fused with dreams, desperation, and folklore. Language begins to change, too. Without global media or education, dialects fracture. Slang evolves. Accents deepen. And in just a few years, regional speech patterns diverge. Civilization, once unified by the internet, fragments into thousands of micro-worlds, each with its own rules, tools, and culture. No one cares what country you're from anymore. Borders don't exist when the map is irrelevant. All that matters is whether your group can survive the next storm, the next winter, the next raid. Ironically, some people thrive in this world. They find purpose in simplicity, meaning in community, fulfillment in physical labor, and direct results. For the first time, many know exactly what their role is and that their contribution matters. No more office politics. No more existential dread. Just work, eat, protect, rest, repeat. A world without work has created a world of only work. But this time, it's work with immediate purpose, rooted in need, not profit. The irony is brutal. Humanity, after centuries of chasing automation and luxury, now claws its way back toward the same lifestyle it tried so hard to escape. But this time, there are no do-overs, no backups, no upload buttons. Just people, nature, and survival. And while this world is unforgiving, it's also ripe for rebirth. Because from these scattered ashes, something new is beginning to rise. Somewhere in the wilderness, a woman digs a trench with a handmade spade. Her fingers are calloused, her hair is matted. She doesn't know what day it is, and it doesn't matter. All she knows is that rain is coming, and if she doesn't channel the runoff, her entire shelter could flood. In another valley, a young boy checks a snare trap. It's empty today, like yesterday, but he resets it anyway, because that's his role in the group. In the world before, he was 8 years old. Now, he's a provider. Across a ruined highway, a community has transformed a collapsed overpass into a fortified village. They've cleared brush, built fire pits, assigned sentries, and created a barter system. Their economy is based on tradable items: dried food, water filters, soap, seeds, tools. One woman weaves baskets. A man smokes meat. While 2 teens are learning how to sharpen old nails into arrowheads. This isn't just survival anymore. It's the beginning of a new order. The chaos of the collapse didn't wipe out humanity. It rewired it. And now, without governments, banks, or corporate ladders, power flows through a new set of rules. Rule 1. Contribution equals value. If you don't bring something to the table, you don't get to eat at it. There are no passive roles here. Everyone does something, whether it's guarding the perimeter, boiling water, or watching the children. The social contract is immediate, enforced not by law, but by necessity. Rule 2. Knowledge is currency. If you know how to build a water wheel, stitch a wound, or preserve food with salt, you're not just respected, you're revered. Elders once overlooked in the hustle of modern life become community keystones. Their memories contain lost techniques, survival tricks, and wisdom. They are the new professors, the new internet. Rule 3. Trust is the foundation. There's no backup system if someone betrays the group. No court, no cops, no bail. Decisions are made by consensus or by necessity, and justice is swift. In many places, betrayal is a death sentence, not from cruelty, but from reality. One liar can cost everyone their lives. But despite the grim conditions, something unexpected begins to form. Culture, not the kind shaped by Hollywood or hashtags, but something raw and human. People begin to sing again around fires, with voices untrained but full of soul. Songs pass from group to group, evolving with each retelling. Folklore is born from real events, twisted through the lens of survival. The night the sky caught fire, the traitor with no tongue, the river that eats children. Art emerges. Not on canvas, but on cave walls, tree bark, and scavenged debris. People draw what they see, what they fear, what they hope. Children play again, not with toys, but with imagination. They chase each other through ruins, pretending to be pre-collapse legends. Pilots, warriors, astronauts. Even in ashes, wonder survives. And slowly, the memory of the old world begins to fade. The idea of career becomes a story told around campfires. There used to be something called marketing, someone says. What was that? A child asks. We convinced people to buy things they didn't need. The group laughs, not in mockery, but disbelief. That was real, someone asks. Yeah, another mutters. It was everything, but not anymore. Instead, new roles form. Scavenger, defender, gardener, medic, mapmaker, raincatcher, songkeeper. The people who used to call themselves CEOs, influencers, and analysts. They're now learning how to trap rabbits and stitch leather. In some regions, small alliances form between villages. Scouts are sent out. Trade routes are attempted. A rough network begins to re-emerge. Not digital, not global, but human. It's slow, vulnerable, but alive. And with it, a new philosophy spreads, one not rooted in endless growth or consumerism, but in balance. Work becomes communal. Rest is respected. Meals are shared. Nature is not something to exploit, but to understand, fear, and respect. Religion also evolves. With no centralized doctrine, spirituality becomes hyper-local. Some communities pray to the moon, others to the rivers. Others still gather around ancestral stories. The divine is no longer distant. It's everywhere. In fire, in seed. In survival, leadership is no longer elected, it's earned. Some communities are led by the wisest, others by the strongest, others still by a council of equals. Corruption, when it reappears, is dealt with harshly. The people have seen what happens when systems fail. They won't tolerate tyrants, not yet. Ironically, in this stripped-down world, some things improve. There are fewer distractions, fewer fake obligations. No one is chasing status or followers. Relationships are deeper, simpler. Time is slower. Pain is constant, but so is purpose. And so, from the rubble of collapse, humanity begins to build again. Not skyscrapers, not empires, but meaning. But as humanity finds its footing, one question remains. Will we rebuild what we lost, or will we dare to imagine something better? Years pass. Not many, but enough for the scars of collapse to scab over. A generation of children now walks barefoot across moss-covered roads, unaware those cracks once carried traffic jams. not weeds. They don't know what an office is. They've never seen a vending machine. The only glass they've touched is repurposed from fallen windows and melted into tools. The old world is still visible, just barely. Towering ruins in the distance, rusting cars swallowed by vines, metal signs with words that mean nothing anymore. Wi-Fi available. Now hiring. Next exit, Starbucks. To these children, they're not reminders of failure. They're monuments to mystery. But for the adults who survived the fall, the memories still linger, painfully vivid. Some try to rebuild what once was. They salvage old solar panels, cracked batteries, generators, textbooks. They form working groups to bring back medicine, language, electricity. They recreate forms of governance inspired by democracy, but trimmed of excess. They experiment with fairness, with ethics, with codes of conduct that don't just punish, but prevent. They remember the price of complacency. Others reject the old world entirely. To them, civilization was the disease, and collapse was the cure. They don't want glass towers and electric cars. They want harmony, sustainability, control. They grow their own food. They enforce tight, localized rules. Technology is used sparingly, only if it can be maintained without dependence. Simplicity isn't a downgrade, it's a shield. And in between, a third group emerges. The dreamers, these are the ones who dare to imagine something completely new. Not a return, not a retreat, but a reinvention. A hybrid of old and new. Maybe the internet returns, but decentralized. Maybe power returns, but renewable. Maybe systems reappear, but designed with humility, not hubris. These dreamers become the philosophers, the visionaries, the teachers of a world still raw from trauma. They remind people not to run blindly toward progress, but to walk carefully, with memory as their compass. They ask hard questions. Should civilization be rebuilt to serve everyone, or just to survive? Should knowledge be controlled or shared freely? Should humans chase comfort or pursue meaning? And perhaps the hardest question of all, is work real, structured, obligation-based work, something we need or something we were enslaved by? For centuries, humanity measured worth by productivity, by resumes, degrees, promotions, awards. Your job wasn't just what you did, it was who you were. Then, in a single moment, all of it vanished. And strangely, people lived. They suffered. They struggled. They bled. But they lived. And in doing so, they discovered that human value doesn't need a business card or a title. That work, in its purest form, making, fixing, helping, protecting, is sacred only when it's chosen. So, as communities grow and fragment and evolve, new philosophies take root. Some cultures assign roles based on talent, not need. Others rotate duties, so no one becomes too powerful or too burned out. Some communities erase all hierarchy, functioning like tight, knit collectives where decisions are made slowly but communally. Others build new structures, new languages, new currencies, digital or otherwise, and attempt to rewrite the rules from scratch. There are failures. Many communities collapse. Leaders go rogue. Trade deals sour. Natural disasters wipe out months of work. But still, people try again. Because now they understand civilization is not a permanent gift. It's a fragile, living project. And every day is a vote to either restore it, reinvent it, or abandon it. Somewhere in a rebuilt village, a teacher explains to children how the world once worked. How people stared at glowing screens for 8 hours a day in windowless rooms, pressing buttons, writing reports, answering emails. The kids are confused. Why didn't they just go outside? Because they had to? Why? The teacher pauses. Because that's what we were taught. Another child frowns. That sounds like a bad deal. The teacher nods. It was. The conversation moves on, but the message lingers. For this new generation, work is not the same as obligation. purpose is not defined by productivity. And survival is not dependent on corporations or economies, but on each other. The irony is haunting. In the before times, people dreamed of escaping work. They dreamed of quitting, of walking away, of doing nothing. And when they finally got it, it nearly killed them. But it also forced them to evolve. Because without the structure of jobs, humanity found something older. Something deeper. Responsibility. Not assigned. Not expected. But chosen. And now, with the past behind and a future uncertain, one final question remains. What did we learn from the day the world stopped working? It began with silence. No alarms, no meetings, no traffic. Just the quiet horror of a world that suddenly stopped spinning. Not because the earth paused, but because the people powering it all walked away. And that silence revealed everything. It exposed how fragile our systems really were. How quickly the lights go out when the hands that maintain them let go. How little separates modern convenience from medieval struggle. But it also exposed something deeper, that we had built a world where purpose was outsourced, where identity was rented to employers, where the rhythm of life was dictated not by nature or community or passion, but by a time card. And yet, when the world collapsed, we did not vanish. We suffered, we screamed, we bled. But we adapted. We found our way back, not to what we had, but to something new. A world slower, smaller, but perhaps more honest. Where work is not a sentence, but a choice. Where survival is not outsourced, but shared. Where value is not printed on a paycheck, but etched into the hands that build, protect, and nurture. The day work died wasn't the end of civilization. It was the chance to remember why we built it in the first place. Not for profit, not for power, but for each other. If this made you rethink your daily routine or the invisible threads holding society together, subscribe. Because in every what, if we explore here, there's a piece of truth worth finding, and maybe a better world worth imagining.